Well, ladies and gents, this is Unbiased History, the Punic Wars. This is the 5th part in the series. We saw the first 4 parts. I did the reaction to that. Check the card for the playlist. Yeah, I created a playlist. Since it's 19 series video, I thought I should create a playlist for this particular series. So, in the last part, we saw how Rome conquered entire Italy. Entire enough. They, conquered the, local Latin groups, Gauls, and then Samnites. And they dominated everyone. It's like they are not even there. I don't know if that was exaggerated apart from Doherty or it was just like that, but yeah, they basically crossed them. Then they went against the Greeks kind of kicked their asses, and then Greeks had to retreat home because of some ships got destroyed in the storms or something like that. So basically Rome conquered entire Italy except for the southern Carthage part and the northern Gauls area. So in this part we're going to see how they fight the Carthage and the southern Sicily, Carthage in Sicily and the northern Africa. This is the Punic Wars. I wanted to do a Punic War reaction for a long time. I've heard a lot about the Punic Wars. I'm like, what the hell is that? I never knew I would do first time reaction to some satirical channel like this. What the hell? It's going to be fun. I feel like whenever he makes a joke I can see it, but even if I don't, people will tell me in comments, obviously. So let's see the video.
Hey plebs, today we'll discuss one of the worst barbarian races ever to plague the earth, a group of merchants who migrated from the Levant many years ago, deceitfully manipulating others to further their greedy interests. You know who I'm talking about. Punics. They were led by a facilocracy.
Alright people, that first joke was censored because lots of people, the Doherty said lots of wrong people were coming on the channel and was causing issues, so he censored it. Some guy said in the comments of the past video that I should check out in another website where it's uncensored. I checked it out. So basically it's the happy merchant thing. Happy merchant is this kind of an image, meme, whatever you call it, of a Jewish merchant who's exaggerated with beard and that kind of thing, who's just greedy. That's the thing. So basically it was a racist Jewish joke that he was just making the greedy merchant and this and that, and then in the end he says the Punics. So it's the kind of clever joke, man. He just censored it there.
You know who I'm talking about. Punics. They were led by a facilocracy in Carthage, coming to dominate the seas with barbarian mercenaries. Where we left off, Rome had recently liberated Italy from its own barbarians. No one saw this contrast better than the gods, whom sought to give Rome a proper challenge. It all started in Italy, where a group of Italians went to civilize the local Greeks. Encountering huge resistance, the Italians accepted help from Carthage, a mistake they quickly realized, calling for Rome for help. The Punics were led by Hannibal and Gisco.
Wait a minute, so some Italians went there to, I guess, to attack Greek. He was using satire probably, but I don't know. So basically attack Greeks, so they asked for the helps of Carthage. But Carthaginians attacked them. So then they asked help for the Rome, and that will be the reason between the, all the battles between Rome and Carthage because of that even. Is that it? Because that's just stupid, man.
Whose strategy to blockade Sicily was quickly foiled as the Romans reached the island, scaring the Greeks into submission and laying siege to Agrigentum. The Punics cowardly fled to the sea before the city fell. Lucky for them, the Romans didn't have a navy, knowing well that seafaring was for pussies. But to win the war, the Romans analyzed the shipwrecked Punic ship, using it as an example of how not to build a ship, and then made 120 of their own in under 2 months. The fleet was commanded by the consul Scipio.
Yeah, okay. So basically, I think what had happened there is that Rome are not naval powered people, or Carthage is. So basically Rome just saw the Carthaginian ships and basically made a copy of them because it was good ships since they are naval powerhouse. That's what he was making a joke that how not to make a copy, but basically they copied it. I'm guessing it's that. How in the past lots of centuries, it's like how the Britain has been in past few centuries been a naval powerhouse. So maybe that's how the Carthage was at the time, while Rome was more of a powerhouse on the ground.
To meet with possible allies near Sicily, being betrayed and imprisoned in an ambush by Gisco. To avenge him, the consul Caius Duilius assumed leadership of the fleet, seeing the implementation of the Corvus, a brilliant shipboarding mechanism that transformed pussy sea conflict into true battles. Duilius went to confront Gisco's fleet.
Okay, so this was the first time this was introduced, or maybe if somebody did it before in the naval battles, this boarding mechanism. So people never boarded before this. Is that it? They just fought and sank ships.
Melee, avoiding all the ramming attempts, boarding tens of ships and scattering their forces, followed
Well, look at that. That's clever. So basically, they didn't destroy ships. They took over it. So basically, they increased their naval power while defeating the enemy too.
by Duilius getting a triumph and Gisco getting killed by his men. Following it, the Romans pushed further and further into Sicily. Now having taken the initiative, the two Roman consuls, Vulso and Regulus, built 330 ships to invade Africa. On their way, they met with a Carthaginian ship of 350 ships at Cape Economus, led by Hamilcar Barca. His strategy was to make the center weak and flanks strong, making it retreat and lure the Romans away as he flanked their rear. But then the Romans broke through it and then returned back and crushed the Punic flankers. With this victory, the Romans
Okay, so basically his plan was to divide and conquer, so attract the center people while he retreats and while the flanks destroy the other parts. So basically he wanted to split the force and kill it that way, but that didn't work. They destroyed it.
their invasion of Africa. Freaking out, the Punics hired a Spartan general who possessed ancient Trojan strategies with him, defeating and imprisoning Regulus. Rome then sent a rescue mission for the army, but the gods denied their efforts, launching a storm and killing them all. With this, Carthage was able to retake Agrigentum, burning it to the ground to quench their bloodlust. But the Romans refused to give
Whoa, wasn't that their city? Why did they burn their own city? Wasn't that Carthage city?
up, building another 220 ships, only for the gods to also destroy it. After many attempts, the Romans tried sieging
Alright. Why is constantly they are losing their ships to weathermen? Were their ships so bad at the time? I mean, it is over 2000 years ago, so I don't know, maybe. But constantly, the storms comes and destroys ships.
Libeum again, all while getting harassed by Hannibal, and another fleet was being destroyed in a storm. Fucking hell. But then Hanno II took power in Carthage, who was so frightened by the Roman perseverance that he demobilized the Punic fleet. With the storms having drained all of the treasury, the patriotic patrician families of Rome donated all their money to build yet another fleet, going
I don't understand that. He was afraid of Rome, so he stopped mobilizing it? How does that work? So what? Okay, I understand. So maybe he was like, you know what? If I'm gonna stop, maybe Rome will stop to attack me too. Is that it? That could be it. So
going on to destroy the Punic fleet at Agades. And
okay, I see what happened. So basically, what he did was, okay, I might be wrong. There's going to be case in a lot of times, but. So he basically thought if I stop attacking Rome, they'll stop attacking me. But at the meantime, Rome built even bigger fleet and destroyed them because of it. Is that it?
winning the war. The peace treaty involved the Roman annexation of Sicily, along with heavy reparations, throwing Carthage into a civil war against its own mercenaries. Rome agreed to help, in exchange for Corsica and Sardinia, later on focusing on the northern Gauls who had allied with Carthage in the war. But the Gauls were very unimpressed with Carthage. After all those storms, they still lost.
Yes,
they saw another chance after Hamilcar won the civil war.
Seriously, all those storms, all those Roman ships getting destroyed. They just basically, went back, and all the rich people gave money to, fund a bigger fleet, and they created it and destroyed the Carthage. And even took over the northern Gauls. Why not?
For Carthage. After he sailed for Hispania, he had one of his sons, Hannibal, swear to one day destroy Roman civilization. At this very moment, the gods buffed all of Hannibal's stats, including his intelligence and his lust for blood.
Because it's a
Years
video
later,
game.
Hamilcar would be killed by the Iberians, succeeded by his son-in-law, whom signed a treaty with Rome promising not to cross the Ebro River. Then he was killed by a slave, leaving his position to Hannibal, whom would expand their dominions through Iberia. In his waylaid Saguntum, a Greek city under Roman protection. It was beyond the Ebro River, but he attacked it anyway, all while the Romans were busy fighting the Illyrians, starting the second war he so wanted. To start the war, Hannibal assembled 100,000 men, including some Numidian cavalry, marching it through Gaul by either bribing or killing the Gauls who stood in his path. Landing on Massalia to stop him was the consul of the year, Publius Cornelius Scipio, the son of Asina, whom failed to catch Hannibal in time. When blocked by the Alps, Hannibal literally marched through it with his war elephants, on Winter, the absolute madman. When he got to the other side, he had lost 3/4 of his army, most of his elephants, and all his siege weapons. Truly a madman. So now
What the hell? So wait a second. He went all the way to Rome to tackle them, and he lost, what, 3/4 of his army? 75% of them lost. He lost all his siege weapons. Lots of his war elephant died. Why didn't he go through boats? Aren't Carthaginian great naval warships or something? Why did he, walked all the way there?
After he had a skirmish with Publius Scipio, whom almost died were it not for his soon-to-be relevant son. As they returned to their camps, Scipio met with his co-consul Longus, a reckless pleb, whom Publius advised not to attack Hannibal. He did just that, getting flanked and killed by the Numidians at the Trebia River. Meanwhile, Gnaeus Scipio, Publius Scipio's brother, was busy tying up the Punic forces at Hispania, led by Hannibal's brother, Hasdrubal. Back in Italy, Hannibal was almost encircled by the new consuls Flaminius and Geminus, but the madman crossed the swamps to evade them, carving his eye out and marching his army between a cliff and the lake Trasimene, which Flavius, another pleb, despite being
Why did he cut out his eye? Only explanation I can think of is maybe he had some kind of infection. That would make sense since he traveled a lot, went through lots of terrain, and sickness is pretty easy in conditions like that. So maybe he had some kind of infection in eye. That's the only explanation. Otherwise he was just crazy, I guess.
advised against it, attacked head-on, getting ambushed and killed. Due to yet another plebeian consul fucking things up, the Romans agreed to elect Fabius Maximus as dictator, the grandson of Rullianus himself. The core of his strategy is known to us today as Fabian tactics, or 4D chess, where one transcends the need to fight any battles at all. Instead, Fabian would patiently wait until Hannibal brought his own doom upon himself. Hannibal tried to convert the Italians to join his side, but most of Italy had already been civilized, save for the north and south that is, where he found most of his support. However, unable to think four-dimensionally, the plebs elected Minicius as co-dictator. He attacked Hannibal head-on, got absolutely fucked, and returned to Rome, renouncing his co-dictatorship. But the plebs refused to learn their lesson, for just after Fabian's term as dictator ended, they elected Gaius Varro as consul, another warmongering pleb. He raised 16 legions to fight Hannibal head-on. At where, you ask? At Cannae. Just saying this name gets me so depressed. Once they arrived, Paulus, that is Varro's patrician co-consul, advised against attacking, but Varro ignored him, charging at Hannibal. Place your bets, everybody. He started the battle by charging in, pushing the Punic center away, only to be flanked by the Numidians and completely surrounded, getting
Damn plebs, constantly just charging head on and getting killed.
Slaughtered for the whole day. 86,000 Romans died that day, the greatest defeat in Roman history so far. Among the dead being Municius, Geminus, and Paulus. And no, Varro didn't die, instead he fled the battle like a bitch. With Rome's armies and leadership destroyed, the Punic demons spread their chaotic terror through Italy, flipping many treacherous cities to their side, among them Syracuse. To punish them, the Senate sent consul Marcellus to lay siege to Syracuse, a man famous for killing a Gallic chieftain with his bare hands. At this time, Syracuse was home to Archimedes, a Greek thief who had stolen many Trojan manuscripts, using them to build many weapons. This
Greek theme.
Despite these hurdles,
Man, Archimedes, poor Archimedes.
Marcellus eventually breached the city, and when a Roman soldier found Archimedes' home, he accidentally stepped over the circles he was drawing like the autist he was, forcing the soldier to stab him until he shut the fuck up. Can you believe the modern mathematicians actually worship this Greekoid? Now, back to the bad news. Both Scipio brothers, Publius and Gnaeus, had been killed by Hasdrubal in Iberia. But remember, we still have Publius Scipio's son. Yeah, he actually managed to survive Cannae, returning to Rome and getting elected as consul for his promise to conquer Iberia for Rome. He headed straight for Cartagena, taking it with just 500 men in a brilliant night attack. Not only that, but proceeding to obliterate Hasdrubal in battle, forcing him to flee to Italy, and then crushing the remaining Punic forces by pulling the same trick Hannibal did in Cannae. Now, back in Italy, the situation was still dire, as both consuls Marcellus and Crispinus were ambushed and killed by the Numidian cavalry, followed by the arrival of Hasdrubal in the north. To prevent the Punic brothers from joining up, the Romans sent their southern legions to march 300 miles north in just a week, linking with the northern legions and attacking Hasdrubal by surprise, destroying him and all his forces. Hearing of the victory in Italy, Scipio focused on taking the fight to Africa. But instead of requesting the Senate for allegiance, he sailed to Italy, using nothing but his charisma to gather 30 warships and 7,000 volunteered legionnaires, then simply asking and getting permission from the Senate to invade. When Scipio
Damn, he literally just walked out and who wanna come with me? And just, that's just badass, man.
landed in Africa, he found the Numidians in a civil war, then took the pretender's side and helped set fire to the local Punic army camp, scaring their forces out and then slaughtering them all in the field, winning the civil war and making Numidia a Roman ally. Now scared shitless of Scipio, Carthage recalled Hannibal to defend Africa, and thus finally freeing Italy from his reign of terror. It would all be decided in the fields of Zama, as Hannibal and Scipio faced against each other. At the day of the battle, both sides deployed their armies in 3 lines, but instead of the maniple formation, Scipio had had them directly aligned, with veletae skirmishes in the gaps. Hannibal started the battle with an elephant charge. They either crashed into his own troops or were easily killed by the Romans. The Numidians took this chance to rout the Punic cavalry, while both armies advanced, with the hastati clashing with the mercenaries, winning the upper hand until the Punic recruits got to them. The Principes came to the rescue, but the Punic veterans were still intact. To finish the battle, Scipio had his hastati and Principes form at the center, and the Triadi at the wings. The armies met in a furious brawl, indecisive for either side, until the Numidian cavalry returned, flanking the Punics until Hannibal fled the field, and the Romans claimed victory. After so many sacrifices and hundreds of thousands of dead Romans, they had emerged victorious once more. Scipio was gracious in victory, demanding only the annexation of Iberia, the independence of Numidia, some more reparations, and the agreement Carthage would never again conduct foreign policy without Rome's wise counsel. After that, Scipio went to Rome, had a glorious triumph, and gained the epithet Africanus, restoring peace at last. Oh, who am I kidding? Here comes the best part. So after the Second Punic War was won, Rome was embroiled in a series of wars against the Greeks. Spoiler warning, Rome wins and the Greeks are blown the fuck out. Huge surprise, I know, but stick with me. During all this time, Cato the Elder was in the Senate, whom held an indescribable hatred towards Punics. Every single time he talked about anything, he would end it with Carthage Unbiased. That is, Carthage must be destroyed. Since he was a young senator, since he was a child, hell, since he was an unborn fetus, all he wished for was to have Carthage destroyed. His chance would come 50 years later after the Battle of Zama, when Carthage illegally fielded an army to fight the Numidians over a border dispute. Now utterly convinced by Cato, Rome sent an ultimatum ordering it to destroy their city, move it several miles further inland, and provide 500 children to Rome to see if Punics had any capacity.
They can't just move it inland like that. What the hell, man?
Several miles further inland and provide 500 children to Rome to see if Punics had any capacity whatsoever to be civilized from a young enough age. They refused those terms and called for war. In response, Rome sent 80,000 men to siege the city, stalled for around 2 years, and then got Scipio Aemilianus, that is Scipio's Africanus son, to lead the siege and finally breach the city. The legions rounded up the 50,000 survivors to serve as slaves, letting the city burn for 17 days, and let's not forget,
this is epic. This is epic.
Feels fucking good. After Carthage's complete destruction, the Romans annexed their now salty lands, as the new masters of the Western Mediterranean, and at the peak of the Republican era. A glorious sight indeed. Join me next time when the plebs continue to deteriorate.
This is great channel, man. He's making this video like he's truly a Roman and he's rubbing it in. The end was awesome, man. So he salted here, salt this, salt that, because I remember hearing in some video where Romans pour salt over Carthage or something. Oh my god. That's some next level thing, isn't it? Just pouring salt over the ground so the ground is infertile for the future. So they didn't just destroy a city, they just destroy the land. Like, we don't want nothing here. We are so tired of Carthage, we don't want nothing here. Man, and Romans started to, kick Greeks' asses too, man. So Roman is properly becoming powerhouse now. Man, oh man, this was an awesome video. The ending was the most epic thing I've seen yet of all 5 series. Because just the way he put together things, like, that's really awesome, man. It feels like he's truly a Roman and wants to rub it in. This is awesome. Alright, don't forget to like and subscribe.